All right, so dude, thank you so much for coming on Cobra TV. It's a pleasure to have you on. I've been following you ever since I learned that you play No Man's Sky, and you guys had that accidental leak of information there, and it just
Yeah.
sent the internet crazy. I mean, and a lot of people were like, "Man, this can't be real because there's so much here," And just tell me about your experience and what you went through. Just start from showing up at the place and start there.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, what to say? Like, thank you. You're a cool community. Like, No Man's Sky community, it was really cool. I was pleasantly surprised because we had like this kind of leak, and then had contact with Sony, and they were a bit worried because embargo and stuff. Yeah, basically, when we arrived, it was kind of interesting because like Sean Murray jumped on stage, and you know him, right? He's like
Right.
he's like a really cool but nerdy guy, and he's always a bit shy. And I think it's still a bit unbelievable for him that he's not like a superstar or like a star designer sort of.
Right.
And it was interesting because he basically was like, yeah, I don't know if this is like going to be like a cool presentation because as you know, it's all procedurally generated and we don't know what happens. And we were like, yeah, just, keep it rolling almost. And yeah, he told us that it was funny because I think his whole team was there. I mean, Halo Games is not, it's interesting because this is such a big, ambitious game, but they are just like 10 people.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And I think every one of them was there. So, basically setup was basically like this, and it was an interesting idea from Sony. That every journalist had basically one guy from Halo Games staying behind him, so we could ask questions, because obviously we didn't have like a ton of time. So they explained us a bit, some mechanics, and I think the way I started was I started on Ballarin 5. That was the name of the planet, but it's all procedure generated. So
Right.
yeah, and it was like an ice planet, and it was interesting because, from the videos that I've seen, like No Man's Sky looked like this kind of, paradise-like looking and a bit like the Legend of Zelda looking beautiful game. And then you land on this ice planet and you're like, holy shit, this is like a survival simulator. Because like my shield dropped very fast.
Wow.
And it's like, I basically, typically if you start a game, you want to wander around a bit and, enjoy it a bit. And then I was like, oh, my shield is dropping really fast. And I think it was the senior producer that told me, Susie Wallace, she told me, yeah, you need to basically go into either a shelter or, do something to, get warm again. And I was like, interesting, what can I do? And she was like, yeah, you can try to find it out for yourself. And so you can either go into, it's like those alien houses, like alien buildings. You can either find shelter there, like you can warm up a bit there. Oh, what's really cool is you have like this kind of little grenade with you, and you can just throw a grenade at a hill, and when the grenade explodes, it basically builds a hole, and you can just like sneak into this little hole and get warm. So that was interesting, like this kind of idea, which is a bit like Minecraft style, but not really. I think that kind of really catch me. So that was certainly interesting.
So that's pretty cool. Like your thermal protection starting to go away, and you're starting to take damage, and your health is decreasing. So you could just walk up to the side of a mountain, blow a hole into that side of the mountain, and go into it for protection from the cold.
Just a bit, yeah.
Wow.
And then you can basically, what I've done is, because everything is in real time, right? Like you can't really stop the game because it's it's all like it's not, you can't just like pause or something, right? So you basically go into the menu, and then you have like resources and stuff, and then you can basically say, okay, I want to craft some batteries out of my resources, and you fill in these batteries into your suit, and then it gets heated up. Or what you can also do is like try to use the jump pack that I had with my character, and make the way back to my ship and fly away. Because once you're in a ship, the battery regenerates automatically. But yeah, this whole thing with the grenade and the hill, this was kind of, it's not, I don't know, it's not mind-blowing in terms of like technical plans or like, physically or like graphically.
Right.
but it was certainly impressive in terms of gameplay. It's just like very experimental, and it's something you don't think about. And I think that's cool. It's just something like this is the game.
So did you have a ship when you first started?
Yeah. I had like a little, I think at the start you get a little explorer ship, and mine looked like, I think it was orange and looked a bit like one of those, Osprey helicopters from the US military. Those guys? Yeah. It looked a bit like this, but like painted in orange and a bit like sci-fi looking.
So it wasn't the one that was shown in the footage we've seen, the new footage, or was it different?
I think it was a bit different. I think it was like a variation of it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you have but there's a lot of stuff in there. I mean, you can also fly something that is more like a fighter, and it's kind of, I think that was my second ship. That looked like an X-Wing almost. So that was interesting. And yeah, I mean, what I really liked about the game is that it's a bit like Sean told me that he really enjoyed Demon Souls. So you want to have this kind of, I think he basically wanted to have this experience. Like, you're basically thrown into cold water and you're in this game and you don't know what to do. And that's kind of an interesting thing, because I ended up going in a house because I wanted to get warm, right? And then there was like this little alien trader, and I was like, oh, that's cool. That's like a little dude. I have to talk to him. And
that's pretty cool.
That was really interesting, because it's basically you have to learn those alien languages.
Yeah.
So if you don't, so basically there's like a dialogue menu. It's a bit like The Witcher or something, and you want to ask him something, and you're like, okay, I can just ask him something. But then you screw it up completely because you ask him something. It's hard to say because you don't speak the language. And I was like, what the fuck? Because he was basically, he was like wobbling with his head and doing like, I didn't understand him, but it was like an alien language, and he was like screaming at me and wanted to go. And I was, why is he pissed?
Is there like any chance to like resolve that issue if you do get them mad? Like, can you talk to them again, or are they just like, nope, I'm not going to talk to you?
Susie told me basically, like Susie, the senior producer, told me, you have to go to there's like obelisk or like these big stones gathered around the landscape, and you have to go there and you have to read it. I mean, this is kind of like a gathering quest. It's almost like Far Cry or something, but it's kind of like really cool in context, because you basically read this whole religious stuff about the Korvax. Those are the alien faction that I encountered. And once you start reading this religious stuff, you basically learn the language point by point. And the more percent of the language you understand, the more it basically gets translated in real time in a dialogue.
Wow.
So that's kind of an interesting thing, because once you go there back, it basically tells you a little bit of what you're going to say, but not the whole thing. So you have to basically imagine the rest of the sentence. And that was interesting. And it's basically, I would say, what's really cool about No Man's Sky is that a ton of those mechanics are very intertwined. Like, once you build up kind of, and it's interesting because Sean told me this. I mean, he lived, he's Britain, and he lived in the Australian outback in Brisbane on a big farm. And I didn't know, Australians have like a very, very different slang and a very different tone in the language than Britons, for example. So he always felt like a foreigner. And he told me basically he wanted to have this like kind of like, I'm a foreigner on a new planet kind of feel for someone that is going to this planet. And you have this on basically every planet. That's kind of cool, right? Like there's a ton of alien races, and there's so many planets. And obviously I haven't seen, I think I've seen 3 or 4. But it's basically like this. You basically go to a planet and you're a foreigner and you screw up there. And then you have to find out different systems, how to basically make them happy. And it's not always just about language, it's about different stuff. There's he told me that there's like military factions, for example, and military factions love it when you shoot stuff, for example. But there's also factions that are more like, they're pissed when you shoot at their own animals, right?
Oh yeah. Like
they're almost like an activist group or something, like an alien.
Oh great, pet is in the game.
Wow.
Alien NGO, right? And they are like, wait a second, why have you shoot at this little elephant thing? So the one, I mean, they're procedurally generated, I think. I'm not really sure about that, to be honest. Maybe they're even designed by hand, but the one that I encountered, that was interesting because he had like a helmet, and I don't really know why, but apparently there's aliens, that's what Susie told me, that basically they think it like there's aliens, and aliens are living somewhere, and they go somewhere to gather resources there. So it's not like they're always on this planet. So they're basically foreigners like you are.
Oh, okay.
And
cool.
Apparently they can't breathe like you can't breathe. So they have like this kind of helmet. I mean, apparently this alien had a helmet so he could breathe. At least that's what I saw. He looked a bit like a human, but not. He was almost a mixture of like a human with a bit of a robot style, like white dress kind of thing. But it could be, but the helmet was a bit like a normal astronaut helmet.
I see.
So that was interesting, yeah.
Did they, oh, I'm sorry.
Go on.
Did they happen to mention like how far spread out the different alien races are? Like there'll be a small portion of the galaxy, but in reality, it's like an unimaginable amount of planets, or how does that happen? Did they say?
I don't have the number in my head, but I think it's like 18 trillion planets or something. It's like an incredibly big number, and it's I mean, what they told me, and that's kind of interesting too. What I didn't know before is you have to basically do a little puzzle to open a portal to the next galaxy or like sun system. There's like sun systems there, like and if you want to basically go from one sun system to the next, you have to open a portal. And to do that, you have to follow a quest. So you have to basically find weapons or stuff, or you have to ask to someone, or you have to do all a boss fight thing.
Now, when you say galaxy, do you mean solar system?
I think it's a solar system, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Are there also portals in which you can fly your ships through?
Yes, I mean, basically, I think the way you do it, and that's also kind of an interesting mechanic. I mean, you can basically say, okay, I want to be a pirate, I want to, attack other ships, but you can also be like a fighter captain, like a trader. And the interesting thing about this part is that, for example, you can go to the Corvex system and gather all those resources because there are a ton of those resources, and then you fly somewhere, and it's almost like a demand system, like in real life, right? Like there's like crystals on the Corvex planet, and there's no crystals on another planet, so you can go there and you can sell it for more.
Oh, okay.
But you have to invest money, or like this kind of like units, what are the credits called? Because you basically have to buy fuel. So you have to kind of like almost like mathematically calculate, is it worth it for me to invest a lot of units for fuel to go to another planet or even another solar system to sell my stuff so I can get more units that I can invest into a bigger ship.
Wow.
Or a better outfitted ship. I mean, there's like, you can basically say, okay, I want to be rather like a trader, or I can also go for more military style systems. And it's kind of, I think what surprised me about the game was that I saw a lot of those mechanics are very basic, right? I mean, for example, Minecraft is a very basic game, and I thought it's more like Minecraft, but it's not. I think all of these mechanics are very, very thoughtful and very, very kind of deep. Like also in space, there's, for example, ships that can heal themselves. Like it's almost like they're almost like Halo-like, and or the ships that have a big shield, and you have something like there's like a system where you basically have like a battery in your ship, and you can sort of say, okay, I want to reduce my shield because I need the battery power to have a better laser, and then I direct my laser to the in front of the enemy shield, so I can almost like melt down the shield.
Oh wow,
that's cool.
And
yeah.
And the moment you have destroyed the shield, you can then use like a proton torpedo or something to finish them off. But a proton torpedo, for example, it's very slow. So you can use it against a fighter, but you can't use it against a jet or something.
Speaking of ships, you mentioned you had 2 ships while you were playing. How did you get the second ship? Did you steal it or did you earn it?
I don't know where I can steal it. That's something I have to find out myself. But I was flying to a space station, and that's the way you have like those space station, and they look a bit like a Death Star.
Right.
But like, and you can go there, and there's almost like I don't really know the English word. It's called like, is it like a tractor beam? You know the thing basically that you have in Star Wars 2. You fly there, and there's almost like a beam. And once you're in the direction of the beam, it basically beams you in there. Like it directs you automatically into the hangar.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And once you're in there, you can jump out of it. It's like Star Citizen, and you can walk around there. And you can basically shop for ships. And it's kind of a interesting thing because also this whole marketplace thing seems to be procedure generated. So it's like, I think Sean told me that basically sometimes it can happen that you basically go to a space station and you see a ship coming out and you're like, oh, I want to have the ship. And then you go into the space station and someone just like an AI, like the AI basically bought your ship, the ship you wanted.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So kind of in the right time, right? I think the only thing that kind of sucks or like is, I don't know, I'm not really sure if it's cool or not, but I think it would be cool if there would be more human interaction. I mean, they don't really want other players to meet you. I don't know why.
I don't either.
I think Sean wants this to be like a very very isolating experience kind of thing. But I think it would be so cool if you basically be like, okay, I know my friend wants to buy this ship, so I basically go there and just buy it because I want to make fun of him, right?
Yeah.
It was still cool because I mean, some weird alien dude, an AI-controlled pilot, basically bought a ship. I mean, I was going to the space station and there was like ships that I wanted to buy, and it cost like this and this unit. And I didn't have enough units, right? So I basically got back to my planet, this Corvex planet, and I gathered resources and stuff, and I sold the stuff because I want to have more units, because I want to buy a new ship. And then I got back to the space station, and some weird random alien dude or whatever just bought my ship. And I was like, holy shit, why?
Wow.
So I had, I was not able anymore to buy the ship that I want, that I just gathered all the resources for it. And I was like a bit pissed about it, but it was also a really cool moment because that way it feels like, like a very livable world. And that's kind of interesting because, I mean, that's something, I think that's kind of a core concept of the game. What Sean told me too is you're not really the star, right? You're not like a celebrity. Like in most games like Skyrim or whatever, you're like a celebrity. And in No Man's Sky, it's almost like no one cares about you. You're just a random dude, right? You want to buy a ship, but another alien wants a ship too.
And what happens to your old ship if you buy a new one? Get it sold, or do you have both of them?
No, you can just keep one of them. You can just keep one ship. So basically exchange it.
How big was the interior inside the space station?
It was more like minimalistic.
Okay, yeah, that's what we've heard in the past. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not. I mean, I think No Man's Sky is kind of I think it's beautiful in terms of like art style, right? I think it has a really unique art style. It reminded me a bit of Tron. It's like it's playing a lot with light, for example. It's like it's tough to describe. For example, in a hangar, the hangar is completely black, like blacked out, and you don't see a lot of texture there. But there's like little blue light strips, and they basically guide you the way to your parking spot, because obviously you have to park your spacecraft, right? Which is kind of cool too. So, and I would say the space station itself was a bit more like very like sterile and like white, and I think it looked. I mean, it's not a Star Citizen, right? It's not. I mean, in these kind of space stations, you see that this game is still an indie game. It's not a $100 million production. I think that's something that people need to know, right? This is not going to be like a Crisis looking game. But I really like the look still. It's
I was about to say that. It's like in its own way, it's still beautiful, even though it's kind of minimalistic in certain senses.
Right. Well,
yeah, so many good ideas. I mean, what I like about the game is that it's very consistent, and it's also it's surprising you all the way. I mean, for example, if you go on a planet and there's like a tree and it looked like a Japanese tree sort of thing, and you shoot at it, for example, it's basically raining almost those kind of like red, almost in a little bit like Bordeaux wine thing, right?
right.
Like from the tree it rains, and it felt for me a bit like Halo games basically want you to tell, hey, don't shoot this tree. Like,
So if you shoot a tree, does it get destroyed? Because I know that was asked before. Does it just reflect the blast or whatever?
no, it's not get destroyed. There's not a lot. It's not like it's not really a physics system in there. It's not like Crisis or not like Division or something. It's more like, yeah, it's just like kind of raining sort of thing. It's like, it's not really get destroyed. It's just like wobbling a bit.
So it responds to your shots?
I would say it's a bit like a cartoon style. I think I don't know. I mean, I think they basically want you to feel bad about it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
I guess,
one playtester that came out that said the graphics were downgraded, like they were washed down from what we've been seeing. How true is that?
That's tough to say. I mean, I think I mentioned that on Twitter or on Reddit. It's going to be one of the games that is really tough to review for us as journalists, because we will have a very different experience than everyone else's. Like, I mean, I have been to this ice planet, and the ice planet didn't look as good as the next planet, for example. And I think the next planet, like the planet that I have been, there was, I mean, the grass and, like the landscape, it looked like The Legend of Zelda, like completely. It could be like The Legend of Zelda almost.
Wow.
And I would say graphics were not bad. I mean, I think it looked pretty nice. I mean, I think when it was like very cold and very like unlivable, like the ice planet probably didn't look as good as the other one, but the second one looked like really nice. I mean, I really liked it, and it's like, it's very detailed game too. Like when you walk through a ship, for example, you can you can definitely see where's the engine and everything. Like it's minimalistic, but it's still very, very detailed. And I mean, and the creatures are detailed like hell, right? Like I think I've never seen a game with such cute and weird creatures. Like for real, I think most people will just walk around a planet for hours watching animals do weird stuff.
Wow.
It's like
cool.
I have encountered a little, but like it wasn't that even small. It was probably 2 meters high, but it looked like an Avok, like an Avok from Star Wars.
Right. Yeah.
But it had like the ears of a little rabbit, like huge ears, almost like. And it was, I don't know, but it was so funny because it also seems to be that, like those creatures, they don't. I mean, when you go in there and you're like, okay, they're just there for show because they want to show off or whatever. But the creatures really live there. Like when you follow them around, for example, there was like this one Avok-like creature, and I thought this is probably the only one on this planet. But then I followed him, I think for 5 minutes or something, and then I encountered his whole family. Right, he basically was going through something. It was almost like a wood, or it was not a hut. It looked a bit like they could live there, right? And there was like a little Avok. He could be his kid, and there was someone, an Avok that looked like him. He could be his wife or whatever. I don't know. It was interesting, and he was dancing.
Meetings.
And they were like really chilled. What I liked about it. Like a lot of these animals are really like chill. They're like, I mean, this Avok, like I think every animal has a different walking animation. So this Avok was like this here, like, he was like almost like doing this all the time. Like he was almost like dancing from one feed to the other, and it was like fun. It was honestly. I mean, didn't have so much time, and I don't want to waste it. But I was like watching this for such a long time. It's so funny when you see this family, and this whole family is like doing this, like almost like they're in a club and dancing.
That's really cool.
It was just cool to see, and yeah, I don't know if every creature is so cool, but I don't know. They all look like really cool and interesting and weird, and it's just a very fascinating game. I think. Like also in the night, it's like the atmosphere changes, and it's also like in the night, those animals that eat meat, right? They get aggressive. Like they have like kind of like almost red blinking eyes or something, and that means that they are aggressive. And if you take a look at this and you basically take the time and not just think about the mechanics of the game, but also just walk around and see it. I mean, for example, I've seen like it was like a dinosaur family with like a very long neck.
Right.
Like those dinosaurs that got killed, I think, in the last Jurassic World, and they were like, it looked a bit like there was like a family, and it was like almost like the two parents tried to protect their little one, and basically tried to build like a little shield behind it so that he could sleep in the night. It was like it's like it feels very livable. I think that was the most fascinating thing for me, that even though all those creatures are like procedure generated and like kind of coming out of an engine and not designed by hand, everyone has something to do. They have like a life, they have like a family and stuff to do, and they go bathing, for example, in a river, and it's just, I think that was kind of mind-blowing for me. That was basically what I said. I think that was basically what because I said on Twitter that it was mind-blowing, and it wasn't mind-blowing in terms of graphical stuff or physical stuff, or like graphics, or like it wasn't mind-blowing in terms of like, for example, like Quantum Break is mind-blowing in terms of graphic fidelity, but it was mind-blowing for me that this world is so consistent and so livable. It's not just like there's a creature staying there so that you can look at it. It's a creature that lives there and has a family and is doing stuff. So that's interesting, and it's cool that they don't care about you. Like it's kind of interesting that they don't give a shit about you sometimes. Like some of those creatures, like they look at you, but some of them also like they don't care. Like they just walk around you or something. But then there's also like creatures that look at you and they look at your ship, for example, which was really funny. It was like I think it was a little dinosaur with the long neck, and he saw my ship, and he was almost like walking around my ship.
Oh.
Because he probably thought, hey, what kind
that
of
is
cool,
really
what
cool.
kind of dinosaur is this?
Wow. This is going to sound like a stupid question, but since you're talking about your ship, one of the things that I've, expressed in some of my videos is that if there's one thing that I didn't like from what I've seen, and of course we're looking at a game that this whole entire time hasn't been finished, but when you get in your ship, are you able to just sit there, or does it immediately take off without you doing it? Like when you get in, does it just lift off? Or can you just sit there for a second?
I think it lifts off directly, yes.
Okay.
I think that it's designed that way. I think they do that because, I don't know. I think they do that because they don't really want you to shoot the animals with the.
But is it possible?
I mean, you can do that, so it's. You can do everything, right? But it's not nice. I mean, you can do that. Like, for example, when you enter the atmosphere, if you want, you can just fire off a torpedo and kill the animals on the ground.
Wow.
It's not. But it's probably not the nicest thing. But it's a tactic. It's interesting, and that's also something that I just saw like briefly. So I don't really know if it works completely. But I mean, there's this kind of. It's called a malevolent force, and it's like an AI, like a computer AI.
Yeah.
And this is like, it almost has like a space fortress or something. And this alien AI is controlling robots and like robot soldiers and drones, especially drones. And those drones control the territory. So very often you see, I was on this planet where they had like this, I think they're called walkers, and they look a bit like walkers from Metal Gear, like, you know, with long legs and stuff, and they were robots. And the robots were gathering resources for the AI, almost like slaves or something, or like workers. And they were protected, for example, from drones. So if you go into this kind of mining field, the drones would basically give you warning sign, like a toot, 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 something like this. And if you stay there, they will start shooting at you.
Ah.
So if you want, basically, you can fly in with your ship once you enter the horizon or the atmosphere. And, you know, once you have an advanced weapon system, you can basically start shooting at the workers. So you can, or shoot at the workers and the drones, and you can try to basically take them out to steal their resources.
So explain the malevolent force.
But you can
a little bit. Were you able to see them while you were playing? The malevolent force. Explain the malevolent force a little bit more. The AI. Were you able to see them?
I don't see if they. I think they were a malevolent force. I mean, those were the drones that you have seen in the footage too.
Okay.
So these are kind of like drones. Yeah, and what I did was basically I had like, I mean, you have like this multi-tool weapon, right? And you can fine-tune this weapon to have like a bit more precision, like almost like a sniper rifle, or you have like a bit more punch, like a shotgun or something. And yeah, and then, but it's I think it's I'm pretty sure that you will get like, better weapons during the game, but in the beginning it was really tough to fight them. I don't think in the beginning it's very, very effective to fight the drones because they are very, very powerful. And they follow you around
that,
too. It's
some of them can like gather resources. Can you like destroy them and take their resources from them?
From the walkers?
Yeah.
Yes, I think you can, but it's really tough because there's a lot of drones. Those drones are like really aggressive. I mean, those drones, you don't want to fuck with them. Like I think I was just staying in this minefield because I wanted to look at the walkers, and they start shooting at me, and I was like almost shooting back, and I think I took out one drone, but like 5 drones showed up.
Wow.
Like they almost like a police force. And the moment you shoot at them, they send like a little army, and it's really tough. And they followed me all the way to my ship, and started shooting at my ship, and I was like barely escaping basically. I mean, it was tense. It was pretty good.
So
it has this action.
So they don't follow up you.
I'm sorry, what?
They don't follow you into space, no, because drones, they're more like. I think they're more like you can probably, I mean, they're basically like a predator drone or something. They're not really capable, right? I mean, they can fly. They don't fly too fast, and they can't fly into space.
So what's the replayability that you experienced? Can you? Are you like, man, I can't wait to play that again, or are you just like, it was fun?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think this is one of the games where you can easily spend 100 hours and way more. I'm very sure about that because, I mean, just thinking about that, I have been to like 3 or 4 planets in like, I don't know, 1 hour and 30 minutes. And I've encountered so much stuff and so many mechanics and so many cool things.
Right.
I don't know. I think this is just mind blowing. I mean, I don't know if every planet is so cool.
It doesn't have to be, in my opinion.
I think this was just.
Same here.
I mean, I think it's always the question how fast it's going to wearing off, right? But I think if they have different mechanics for every alien race that you encounter, it's just cool. I mean, it's just really cool if you meet an alien dude and you piss him off and you don't know why, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. And if they have a lot of aliens in the game, I think this is going to be like really cool. And I mean, we've seen it in screenshots too. There's like robot dudes, for example, and they're praying to the sun, for example. And I think they have so many cool cool mechanics in there. Like the rubber dudes, they really like the sun and they don't like you to land there somehow. So it's interesting, yes. And as I said, I mean, those races are not the same. Like, some of them are more almost like Greenpeace-like. Like, if you shoot animals, they're like, no, we don't want to do anything with you. We don't trade with you, right? Fuck off.
Oh, wow.
Or like very minimalistic guys. Like, there's like races basically that are really fancy. They fancy it a lot if you shoot down the drones, for example. Because I mean, obviously the drones are like this. Yeah, the Malevolent Force are more like a present force.
Did you get into any space battles while you were playing with your ship?
Yes.
How was that?
Well, I tried to. Let's take it that way. I tried to, but I think this was a big failure. Actually, I was in my ship and I attacked the group. It was like a convoy of freighters, and I was like, fuck it. I mean, I probably had like 10 minutes left to play, so I was like, just go for it. And I was like attacking them. And the way you take out a freighter is you have to destroy 8 of those battery things. I don't know what it is. I think it looked a bit like a battery on every side, so it's like 16 batteries. But the moment you shoot at them, I mean, obviously they can return fire, but it also call on the space police. So that's kind of interesting because it's almost like GTA-like, right? You have a star system.
What did they look like?
You have like a star system. The police?
Yeah, the space police.
The space police. They look very like Hollywood would design them.
Really?
I would say. I mean, they look normal spaceships, but with, they were like doot.
Oh,
like,
wow, that's
like, almost cool. Like you would.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
They look almost like you have a police car in space.
That's awesome.
Probably a bit cliche, but it's still fun. I mean, you want to know that they're police, so.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. They're blue, like they're like blue, and they have like kind of like a. Don't remember what the emblem looked like, but I think it was something like a star or something. It looked like, it could be something like out of Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs, for example.
Oh, okay.
If you know that,
yeah.
Did you die, and how long did it take to respawn?
Yeah, I died once. I died on this first planet when I was on the ice planet, because I didn't get it. As I said, I was like wandering around, and I mean, I think a lot of people, and it's funny because Sean, I think he's really enjoying this a lot. He told me that in the testing, a ton of those people die all the time because it's so fascinating to look at those creatures. And I was like looking at a creature, and then I was like, wait a second, why is like, because the moment your battery, your shield goes down, they have like a visual system. Like, for example, your screen freezes. Like when you're on a cold land on this planet where it was like minus 165 degree. So this kind of screen freezes from here to here, and it got like the ice got thicker. So it's basically like a visual alarm system almost to tell you, hey, it's getting cold. You should probably get some more. So that was the first time when I died, and but it doesn't take a lot of time to. You basically respawn in your ship.
Oh wow!
But I think you lose everything that you have gathered so far.
Yeah. Well, that's understandable. You're gonna have to have some kind of consequence if you die, you know.
Yeah, I have a lot of those systems. It's as I said, I don't think people expect it to be, but I think it's very much a survival simulator. I mean, there's like, I know that someone, no, not I am, but one of my colleagues was on a planet that was toxic.
Yeah.
And it was like corrosive, I guess. So it was basically, the atmosphere was almost like his suit was kind of like melting down.
Ooh.
So he had to find very fast. And basically he had to build in some upgrades into his hazard suit, or build it into a hazard suit with like anti-corrosion things to go back there. But it was a planet where you can get some good resources. So I think the whole game is about exploration. It's a bit like you go to a planet and the planet is very toxic or very dangerous, and then you have to find out how to prevent getting damaged, because you probably want to go there because you can get a lot of cool stuff there, and you can sell it somewhere else for a good price, so you can get like a better ship.
Right. So were you able to look at the galactic map?
Yes, you can do that.
Let me ask you, is it a galactic map or is it a universal map?
It's both, I guess. I mean, it's you basically can zoom out of it, or like once you open it on a PlayStation 4, it's just like the touchpad.
Right.
You see the planets floating around.
Right.
And once you basically go out and like zoom out, you can see like a whole galaxy thing. I don't know how many planets, but it looked like thousands of planets that were like almost all very, very small little sprinkles all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While you are in the planetary map, could you zoom into every planet and see like stats or how the planet is made of, if it's a toxic planet or something like that?
No, I don't think so. I'm not really sure about it, to be honest. That's something I had to check out, but I don't think so. No, I think it's more like once you discover the planet, it's on your map. It's like, and you can basically see, okay, this was a toxic planet because I've seen it. I have been there, but it's not. No, it's not. And I think that's good. I mean, there's no warning for it. So you basically enter the planet, and then you're like, okay, I'm fucked because this.
Whoops! Better get out of here.
Fast.
I should probably go back and so I should probably get an upgrade first against for a hazard suit, or
Right.
You can help out yourself a bit with when it's cold, with a grenade and find shelter in a little hill.
Okay, so Syrian or Elka, do you guys have any last questions for him?
Whenever you were talking about ships before, you mentioned, I might have caught this wrong, but you can like almost change the way you power certain things on your ships. Like you can put more power into your shield, or you can put more power into your weapons. I mean, did I catch that wrong, or is that how it's going to work?
I think that's how it works. Yeah. I think it's there's a lot of in the display. I mean, the HUD is very minimalistic, but in the display of every ship, there's a lot of stats, and you see, for example, how much fuel you have left, and you see how much ammunition you have left of like a torpedo or something, and you see how much shield energy you have left. And I don't think it's as advanced as in like Elite Dangerous or something, where you can basically say, I want to have like more protection on the rear or more protection on the front shield. But I think you can definitely put some energy from your shield to your laser weapons, so you have more firepower.
So kind of like FTL, if you've ever played that?
A bit like this. I don't think it's as advanced. Okay. I don't think it's so sophisticated because everything is in real time. But it's a bit like this. Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff in there. Like as I said, I mean, there's also, I didn't see that, but they told me that there's also ships that can regenerate their health, and there's ships basically in a convoy that can repair other ships and stuff, and they have like bodyguard ships. So basically there's like, those freighters can basically open the doors, the back doors, and can get like a little fleet out of bodyguards from bodyguard ships.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
And they can call in the space police and they can kick your ass. So and I think there's also something like a military in there. I mean, you have a star system, so once you reach 5 stars, I think there's some. That was surprising too. I think they have different police ships. So they have like small police ships and medium-sized police ships and big police ships.
Oh wow!
And the big police ships are basically the one that can have like, sophisticated laser weapons and stuff. So
Yeah. Man, you make me so excited about this game.
Oh, me too. Oh, it's so cool.
Better. Every time.
Be sure to put your link, anything you want me to link in the video, in the chat here. So your Twitter or your WordPress, which I wish I could read because it looks really interesting, the stuff that you write on there. And the same goes for Syrian and Elka. They are great YouTubers, so if anybody's watching this video, which I'm pretty sure there are, go ahead and check out the links below and check out Syrian. He's a No Man's Sky YouTuber, and so is Elka. He's a German No Man's Sky YouTuber. So they're really great channels. Please, everybody, go check them out. Any last questions, guys?
Yes. I would love to know how detailed the interiors of the houses from the aliens are. I heard that there are light switches which you can switch off and on, and there's like chairs and everything.
Yeah, you can do that. That was funny too. That's what I done, because that's what journalists do, right? We always switch on the light and stuff. As I said, I was going into this building because I want to warm up, and I didn't know that there's someone living there. So I was basically, switching up the light, and I think the alien trader got pissed because, you probably don't want people to switch off the light in your shop. And I didn't know it's a shop, so that's kind of interesting too. Yes, and there's like, I think that was pretty detailed. There was almost like a little, I don't know if it was a kitchen, but it looked a bit like a kitchen. So
cool.
I think the alien trader dude basically lived there.
Wow.
Yeah. So they definitely have like a little bed and stuff, like almost like very sci-fi. But yeah, it was. As I said, I think what I really liked about the game is that everything feels very livable. They're not just there for your amusement or to sell you some shit, but they are also there to they're living there. They are like it's their house. That's why the alien dude was
so everything has a purpose.
Plugged in and switched off the light.
So were you given the explanation why black holes exist?
No, I didn't. No.
Okay. Well, it was worth a shot.
But I think
I know
you
they
can
said.
get sucked into it and your ship gets destroyed, but I don't know.
Yeah.
For sure.
I know they said that you could build reputation with the aliens, and I know they mentioned it before with factions. Do you know if there's like any meter or any indicator that shows that, or is it still just you see it happen?
That's a good question. I don't really know. I know that there is a reputation system, and I don't think it's very. I got like the impression that they don't really want to have a very stat-driven game. So they basically want you to find out stuff. I think that's what I think that's what they do. I think that's kind of interesting because it's not. I don't think they want you to check out a ton of stats. They want you to try out stuff. They want you to go back to an alien and find out.
Right.
I basically just learned your language. How does he behave now? And is he more chill now?
I like that better. Instead of looking at a stat to see, how you are in relation to another faction, you go over and you find out,
Yeah.
So I think that's cool.
Did you saw a sunrise or a sunset?
Yes. That was actually super impressive. In terms of graphically. I mean, that was pretty wow, because you have when the sun goes down, like the whole planet gets like almost shaded in red. So I think that was super impressive. It was
cool.
It's a bit like you're in Santa Monica and you see the sun goes down, or in Florida or whatever. You're on the beach, you see the sun goes down, but it's not like the sun is going down on this special point. It's almost like this whole red that you see in the horizon typically on Earth. It's almost like overshadowing the entire planet. So the entire planet gets this kind of like red glue thing over it, and then it gets really dark.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it was pretty impressive. I mean, screenshot material. Really good. Yeah. Really, really good. Now we were like, I think everyone was like, "Oh, can we make some screenshots? Can we please make some footage?" And they were like, "No, we can't do that now."
Oh,
We were like,
that
"Oh
would
my
be
God,
so
can we
cool.
please take pictures with our iPhone?" And they were like, "No." No, honestly, it was that was pretty impressive. So I mean, as like the colleague, like you mentioned, there was one colleague that said it's a downgrade. I mean, tough to say, but I wouldn't say that because it's so. I think it's very, very colorful and very impressive. Like this whole atmosphere thing. Probably it's not. Probably if you go to a tree and you look at it from like this distance, and there probably is not a sharp texture or whatever.
Right.
If you're into that kind of thing, but the overall like the atmosphere is like mind-blowing cool. I mean, especially the whole. I mean, and that's kind of cool too, because depending on which planet you are, the atmosphere is very different when the sun goes down. Like when you're on a planet that is like, cold, everything gets like a very bluish atmosphere, like a very bluish glowing. And if you're on a hot planet, everything gets like a very reddish glowing all over the place.
Nice.
And it's very cool because there's also like a lot of animals that are like, how would you describe it? Have you seen Avatar?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. An Avatar, there's like those plants that glow in the night.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of animals in No Man's Sky that basically glow in the light.
Oh, that
glow
is so cool.
Yeah, they glow like they're almost like a little light strip, like a light strip from a gaming mouse.
So basically, like a world can look completely different in the night than it does in the day.
Yeah.
Completely, and depending on which. So that's kind of, as I said. I mean, that's pretty impressive how they do it. I don't know how they do it because all of this is like procedure generated, but yeah, somehow all of those stuff is like interconnected and it's pretty mind-blowing. I don't know if it's on every like this, but and how many variations there is in there, right? But yeah, I think it's just cool. I mean, it's. I was like very often like I've seen colleagues because for example it was like we had like a gaming session and there was like a break. Basically, we had like interview with Sean Murray, right? And I was coming back and it was like there were like different groups. And when I didn't have a space because they didn't had enough consoles to have every journalist play, so it was kind of like groups.
Yeah. And
basically, I was just sitting there watching a colleague, and I think they were the same. They were like, "What? I mean, it's so cool if it gets night and it's like reddish, and you're sitting or basically walk in front of a little elephant that has like I don't know rabbit ears or something, and I don't know he's like glowing like a little. He's glowing like I don't know like a Logitech mouse. It's all like the. Here, like Logitech has like this keyboard, like a G800, and there's like if you put in like a GTA 5 profile, for example, you can basically like when the police follows you, you can get like the keyboard light up, right? You've probably seen it on YouTube, and it's a bit like that.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
it's like the elephant is going to glow in different colors and different color scenes, and you're like. What is going on here? Like, it's yeah. I think I don't know. I could totally imagine me playing this for relaxation. Like you're coming off from a day of work and you don't really want to trade stuff or you don't want to shoot stuff. You probably just want to walk around or sit somewhere and look at animals that do weird stuff and dance.
Yeah. Very cool, man. If you guys don't have any more questions, we probably might have to end it here before we have a 2-hour video to upload on YouTube.
I have one more. Well, kind of two. The user interface, like you mentioned that you'll have to combine resources to like recharge your battery. Is that like Minecraft style? Like is one little box that pops up in the center, or do you have to like go into the quote unquote start menu and into the resources and combine them that way.
Yeah, it's more like a start menu. It's kind of, it looks like a game. It's not as crappy as Minecraft.
Okay.
It looks like a game.
And has
it's like a very, it's very like visual too. It's not like,
okay.
I mean, Minecraft is very, very minimalistic in this kind of thing, right? You have like kind of like, an axe doesn't look like an axe. It's almost like a little whatever. And this is like more visually enhanced, so it looks much better. Yeah, it's I would say it's more comparable to Mass Effect or something.
Did the start menu change a lot from what we saw in IGN last year, or is it still kind of similar?
I don't know how it looked on
Destiny. It kind of looked like Destiny.
Yeah, like Destiny.
Almost exactly it.
Yeah. I would say that changed a lot. Yeah,
Okay.
It's a bit like Destiny. That's true.
Okay.
I have also a last question. If you, for example, are on an ice planet and you are on the sunny side, is the temperature different from the night side?
From the night side, you mean on this one planet?
Like if you are on the
When it
sunny
gets
side?
night, does it get colder?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't because I had to flee the planet because it was too cold. Yeah. Basically, when I was on this planet, I was like, I just want to go to the ship and fly to another planet because it was just cold. And it was like my battery was going down all the time, and I don't want to have this all the time. So I was like, okay, let's go to a more chill planet,
Right.
like a paradise planet. But I could, I don't know. I will check this out next time I can play it.
All right. Very amazing. Very amazing. You are one lucky guy, and I envy you so much.
Yes.
So
It's been amazing to talk to you, and it's been amazing just sitting here, just imagining as you're talking, and my hype level's just completely. It's too far up there now, and it's awesome to get confirmation for a lot of the people out there that have been saying, I don't want to buy a flying and walking simulator. I want to buy a game, and the things that you're saying actually solidifies that No Man's Sky is an actual game. If that's good.
It's a very complex game. Yes.
Very
it's
good.
a very complex game. I think that's probably, if you want to sum it up, what surprised me the most about the game is how complex it is.
Right.
And how very smartly intertwined all those systems are.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty impressive. Like that they really think about, not just trading stuff, but also you have to calculate how much fuel you're going to invest to fly to a different solar system because you can sell your stuff for more cash there. So that it's almost like an economy system, like I don't know, a Port Royal or something. So that they have really all those systems in the game is pretty mind blowing. Like really, I hope. I'm a journalist, so I have to stay neutral, but I probably would say I would love them to have some level of success because, those guys have been through so much, right? He told me about the flood and like the whole office got flooded and everything got destroyed, and it's weird. It's pretty wild. And he said it's good that we announced the game before because otherwise we probably would have never done it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
All right,
The
Benjamin.
fans got their back.
Don't forget to send me your links that you want me to put in a video.
I will do that.
And it's been amazing to talk to you, Syrian Gaming and Elka. All three of you guys are just amazing people. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us. This is awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. I will probably meet Sean pretty soon again in Berlin or something. So we're already planning something. So I will let you know, and I can ask him some more questions.
Okay, great.
Sweet, yes.
Ich komme nach Berlin, okay?
Yeah, we have to talk to a Sony PR if that's possible, but yeah.
All right, you guys have an amazing rest of your day or beginning of your day wherever you are in the world. It's been great. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, take care, Benny.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.